Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. It is a sports affiliation betting collaboration. We are back. This is NFL Week 14. NBA is on week, I think, 9 or 8, somewhere right in there. But we're going to be breaking it down for all your betting needs today. We do thank you for being here with us. Do want to give a shout out to the Better Vision. Still can go download all your apps, look at your bets right there. Working on getting that on the Android for all the Android users. But if you have an Apple phone, go check it out. You can download it and it'll be ready to use. Yeah, man, last night, let's do a little recap of the games. We had some units on it. Like we said, I put a double unit on the under. I just kind of thought the in-season tournament games were competitive, neutral court, playing at what? I think Las Vegas is California time zone, right? Western time, Pacific. So 2 o'clock over there. Weird start time for an NBA game. Even on the weekend, really. I mean, they just don't have that many 2 o'clock start times in the NBA. Okay, it's more of a prime time, kind of a night game. So, yeah, I just kind of felt that was there. That hit, but, we had some other things not hit. All in all, just what are your thoughts on the Pacers in the Bucks game? And then we'll kind of jump over to the Suns game. Yeah, from a betting perspective and just the game in general.
Yeah, man. I mean, the from a fan perspective, and a basketball perspective, Indiana, man, I mean, this team was playing zero defense 2 games ago. I mean, zero. Like, they did not care. They were just going to shoot, let you shoot, and try to outscore you. And they're still doing that for the most part. But they quietly played great defense against the Celtics that first night. I mean, held them to what, 104 or something. I mean, they did not score a lot of points. And they played good defense against the Bucks. I mean, they kept them contained, and they also scored the basketball. I mean, Miles Turner last night, yesterday afternoon, just set the tone from the get-go. I mean, they were ahead by 9 at the half with Halliburton having, I think, 9 or 11. He hit 2 free throws at the end. So, I mean, Tyrese Halliburton, what can you say? I mean, the question for me is, did the Kings trade the wrong point guard, which is its own show. And De'Aaron Fox is no slouch, but what Halliburton's doing in Indiana, man, is amazing. So the Pacers, they're awesome, man. I mean, they beat the Celtics and the Bucks in 2 games to get to this, in-season championship game. I don't know what tougher resume you can really have. And my Lakers, I mean, LeBron, like, I don't care if there's 500K. I don't care if you just tell him that this is the first time this tournament is going to be recognized as an NBA like award. Like, he wants to win it. Like, he doesn't want that. He doesn't need that narrative of LeBron didn't win the first in-season tournament. That's all he's going to hear. And this dude's been on a tear before these 2 games. Defeating Father Time at the moment, right, which can just end at any second, right? We saw Kobe with his Achilles. I mean, it can happen. But right now, this guy's doing things in his 21st year that people never do. You look at numbers of guys like Garnett, Vince Carter, Kareem, like Dirk, in their 21st year. I mean, not even close. And those are Hall of Fame, players. But 44-point blowout against a Pelicans team that people and I myself thought had a chance in this tournament. Were a phenomenal team before Zion went down last year. Got McCollum back, got Murphy back. They look like a real contender when they get things going. This Laker defense is nasty. Yeah, number 1 defense since the trade deadline last year. Vanderbilt back. He sets the tone. When they want to play D, man, they do. And so got to be excited to see the Lakers win that game the way they did. Now we get Lakers-Pacers tomorrow night. So,
yeah, I kind of think it's interesting. The Pacers kind of came in, and it's weird that I talked myself out of them being a team that could win it all just because coaching matters to me. I mean, Rick Carlisle, he just blew through 2 kind of coaches that don't have near the resume that he does. If you want to say he's way better, that's cool with me too. I mean, I just think he's a better coach. He's one of the best coaches in the Eastern Conference. And he's getting the most out of Tyrese Halliburton. He's getting something that Sacramento couldn't get. He's building his team the way he wants with Bruce Brown. Obi Toppin looks way better as a Pacer than he did as a Knick. So he's just utilizing these players that other coaches didn't have as much success with, and that's a tribute to his coaching. I wish I would have thought about that more. Pressure moments. We see that's what's going to make coaches. Can they make the right calls? Can they get the right personnel in? How long are they letting players rest? All those things are the factors in it, and it really showed, I believe, in that. And in the Lakers game, I think it's just LeBron. Somebody put it out. It might have been the Wall Street Journal, New York Post, somewhere over there on the Northeast. They said they broke down what this $500,000 would be per player, and for LeBron, it's 0.1. It would be 0.1% of his salary. And for some of one of the Lakers, it's like 43, I think, 43 or 44% of their salary boosted on top of that. So the financial incentive is probably there, particularly for the 12, 13, 11, 10 guys on your bench. The Lakers, LeBron's carrying them, right? Like what he's doing so special. It's kind of hard to get maybe a fan that doesn't understand what's going on there, how special that is that he is doing this in his 38th season. He's out there having Anthony Edwards numbers and, got Tyrese Halliburton numbers and these guys that are much younger than him, right? Whereas you can see the decline in other people around. You can see it in Klay Thompson. You can see it in people younger than him. And it's just pretty magnificent. But for him to go out there and play for the love of the game, I think, really, and for the love of something new. You got to remember, LeBron didn't go to college. He didn't play in the NCAA March Madness. He didn't go to one of these invitationals like the Jimmy B Classic or whatever they have in Hawaii, or the one that just took place, I think, in St. Louis or somewhere out there in the Midwest. It's kind of, I could tell it matters to him, and yeah, Dame talked about it too, Coach, what it means for some of the bench players. And you can see it in some of these guys out there getting out there playing hard minutes. That this $500K would mean a lot to. I mean, it means a lot to everybody, but for LeBron to go out there and play the way he is, and it's 0.1%, you can tell it's for the love of the game. The Pelicans, man, I've probably listened to more Pelicans games than any other team besides the Nuggets or watched. It's like they got games off and games on. If one of their lower, they can't have BI and CJ McCollum be off, okay? And Zion wasn't doing great either, okay? But Zion's hit or miss. That's expected, all right? He's the most overhyped player in quite some time, in my opinion. But BI and CJ McCollum, they got to be able to have those great nights. And then if Murphy's off, forget about it. If Jones is off, forget about it. There's no chance. And they just had that off night. I mean, for as good as they looked at the Kings away on, true home court, and then go to Las Vegas at a neutral court, well, semi-neutral. The Lakers fans are pretty loud there, but to just underperform that way, it is what it is. Now we get LeBron versus the Pacers. I'm going to do a write-up on this as well. I think the in-season tournament's great. It's everything the All-Star game is not. And Adam Silver, he nailed it. He made a slam dunk. And I'm going to write about it because the All-Star game is all about everything but the game. The in-season tournament is just about the game. People going to Vegas, there's all kinds of other things they can be doing, but they want to see that game, when I say that, I mean like NBA, heads and people in the media, people that cover basketball for a living. So it's not, especially the All-Star game, most of the time they leave before the All-Star game takes place, go somewhere else, right? The in-season tournament, people want to see it. It is without question one of the best things that the NBA has done in quite some time. It's better than the play-in. I still think the play-in's kind of dumb, in my opinion, but I get why they do it. It's just kind of revenue, get more games, blah, 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 blah. But, okay, enough about that. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the bets. Coach saying Zion ain't done nothing since CJ came back, and Ingram doesn't have the it factor. I mean, I think he does. It's just he's in, contribute to Lakers defense. They did play well. They got AD. He's a defensive machine.
And they were out the gate, man. I mean, other than the first quarter, man, the Lakers just took over, and this Pelicans team is just finally back together too. So I think, to give them a little credit, it's going to be interesting to see if they stay healthy, how they look, once they all play together. But yeah, last night was It was the Lakers just never let up, man. And on the betting side, man, what I really liked about LeBron last night was looking at the matchup, like everything for LeBron pointed to his under, right, on the points. I mean, they put him up to 28.5. Like, yeah, he's scoring a lot, but he's not hitting that number. He doesn't hit it a lot. It's a terrible number against the Pelicans defense for small forwards, like with those guys down low and Valanciunas and Zion, and everything that you looked at matchup wise, like pointed to not play the, I didn't touch that prop, but to touch the under. And LeBron said, forget your analytics, forget your matchup. And like, you can't bet on that part of it, right? Like, I'm like, there's no way I'm betting against LeBron in a playoff type game. And what he does, he comes out and scores 30, in 22 minutes of basketball.
Yeah, 22. He was on fire last night. Made those 3 threes in a row. I'm sure Pacers fans are having a little bit of flashback, like, oh my God, here it comes again. Like our one chance to win a championship since like the 50s or something. Way before, I think, I think it was not the Indiana Pacers. I think they were called something else. And yeah, it's amazing that they're going to have to try to go past LeBron to do that again. I just kind of think that's a little bizarre with it all and how it shakes out and how history does repeat itself. So we'll be interested to see. The Lakers are favorites in that game. I believe it's at negative 165. I think they're 4-point favorites. I think LeBron to be MVP is negative 135. So if you didn't hedge, if you didn't get in, it's going to be a little late at this point. We'll talk about that later. We do have a lot of NBA bets to cover, man. And I don't do this much. I do have a fantasy alarm bet that I am going to share just because I think it's so good, man. And it's Draymond Green over 0.5 threes made. He has 18 attempts over his last 4 games since coming back from the suspension. 18 attempted threes. He's in a transitional part of his game, man. He's no longer being that dominant post. They got Kayvon Looney there. They got Sarek there. They don't need him to do that anymore. All right, so he's helping facilitate. He's playing at the top. He's playing outside of the paint a lot. And he's gone over this in 5 of his last 7 games. I don't know how he would cover this prop. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's we love those one shot. All you need is one shot and you get it to go in. And Draymond has been practicing this a lot. Like I said, 18 attempts, over his last 4 games. That's like a guard. Okay, like if a guard shoots 4 threes a game, you're going to be like, all right, good job. Draymond is slowly evolving to more of that, and he's going to be playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. Like he's going to have to shoot over Josh Giddey. He's going to have to shoot over Chet Holmgren. The closer you get to the rim, the more difficult that task becomes. I think he's going to spot up, shoot a couple threes, and I just think that's part of Draymond's green going. I just think that's part of his game going forward.
Nice, I like it. I like it. Pacers better bring back Stevenson to blow in LeBron's ear again. Yeah, they're going to need something like that, man. I mean, I don't know. It's going to be tough. We'll talk more about that. But first one I like, man, is, I'm high on Bulls guard Kobe White. This guy is been playing out of his mind. No Levine. He just steps it up to a whole nother level all across the board, points, rebounds, assists. And he's had some great matchups. I mean, he had the Hornets and he had the Pelicans, who are a good matchup for point guards. Well, an even better matchup for point guards is the San Antonio Spurs, who he gets tonight. I mean, they give up, the first most points, the second most rebounds. I mean, they're top 5, bottom 5 in every category against point guards on the season. And he's just been doing everything. I mean, he's been crushing it. 19, 9, and 5 the other night. I think he had 23, 9, and 5 the other night. I like everything about his game tonight. I think the one low assist would probably be the one thing that I'm not as keen on just because of the matchup, but he's got the ball in his hands, so I don't think it really matters. His points are over 20.5. I love that line. His rebounds are over 4.5. He's had 9 the last 2 games. Each game, Spurs are the best matchup for point guards in rebounds. I think hitting 5 for him is no problem. So, I mean, I'm all over Kobe White, man. The points, the over 24.5 points and rebounds, and I'm over 30.5 points, rebounds, and assists. Just what he's done, what he does in the lineup without Levine, like the ball in his hands, I think providing 31 points, rebounds, and assists in some form or fashion. Over 30 points for him tonight is probably a interesting plus money look. I didn't look into that, but it's that kind of match. I mean, it's, if you're looking for that plus money ladder, I mean, the Kobe White ladder tonight on points, I think, is definitely there. So, yeah, it's a few in one. I mean, however you'd want to play that, I really don't think you can go wrong. But, points, rebounds, assists kind of covers those areas. If he gets 9 boards and only has, 20 points, 19 points, I mean, you give yourself that 4 assist wiggle room. So, kind of looked at the best angle there, and then I kind of just ended up playing a little bit of everything and took his rebounds individually as well. I just think 5 rebounds in this game is pretty easy for him. So
I love it. I kind of have Chicago on a massive parlay I'll give out before we go to the NBA or to the NFL a little later. Yeah, man, I got a lot of props that we can cover real quick. Go ahead and kind of get those out of the way. Derek Lively tonight against Portland. Coach has already told us that DeAndre Ayton is doubtful to play tonight. So Lively's minutes have kind of been going up. He's covered this prop in his last 4 out of 6 games. He's become their go-to center. It's an excellent hit by the Mavericks. Mark Cuban again, just building this roster. I think the Mavericks might. The Western Conference is as deep as it's ever been. And then you got like Portland, Utah, San Antonio. That's about it. I mean, everybody else is probably got a shot. You could probably throw Houston in. I don't know. Houston's beat some good teams, so if they can figure it out, I don't really like Houston, but let's say those 4 teams out of there, so you still have 11, 10 teams that can go battle it out and get a deep run. So we'll just see how that plays out. But that's at -135 for Lively. I think that's a good chance, that happens. And then Kawhi Leonard over 5.5 rebounds against the Utah Jazz. The Jazz give up a lot of rebounds to the forward position. Lauri Markkanen's still out. Jordan Clarkson's probably coming back, playing a little bummed out. Utah, they just don't look good. Like when I watched their 2, I've caught about half of 2 of their games. It doesn't sound well. It doesn't sound fluid. And the Clippers can go in there and beat them for sure. I don't think that's a big problem. In fact, they're spread at 7.5. The Clippers are tonight. I kind of like that as well. We're going to be looking for Westbrook's rebounds. It's been a big bet for us lately. It's been hitting. So we'll just see how that pans out. I also like if for the plus betting crowd, that Kawhi Leonard bets at -145. Kevin Huerter, man, he's been shooting pretty damn hot. And I guess the Pelicans, he had 2 made threes in the first quarter, one had another one later in the game. He's kind of a big rhythm shooter. When he's hot, he's hot. When he's not, he's not. But his 3 points are at +114 to make over 2.5. Sacramento's playing the Suns without Bradley Beal, without Kevin Durant, without Grayson Allen. Gordon's probably not going to be locked up on Wetter that much, as and then they still got Fox, they got Barnes, they got Sabonis, so it's going to be difficult to kind of lock up their shooting guard. Who's probably going to be roaming around the outside of the 3-point line, just waiting to catch and shoot, pop, shoot, pop, shoot, pop, shoot. That's all we need is 3 of those things, and that's plus money. So I do like that as well. That's more or less what I got, except for that super big parlay in the NBA. Did you have any other NBA bets you'd like to discuss?
Yeah, I got a couple other ones. Again, targeting some of these matchups as of late, and we love Lively, man. Coach and I talked about him on the fantasy show. Being an addition here as the season goes. I mean, just the upside of that player is too good. Rim protector, easy money, lob guy around the basket. You're just talking about easy points, easy buckets.
Yeah.
7 blocks the other night. I mean, yeah, he's on the rise. I mean, he's one of those guys you got to snag now if he's available, from the fantasy perspective. So, Coach asked what that Lively prop was at again.
8.5 at -135.
Nice. And then, so I'm going to go back to I also like Mikal Bridges tonight, man. Dude has been scoring the basketball like crazy, just under 29 points a game his last 10. Torched the Wizards the last time they played them. The matchup again here for small forwards is just what you want. Bridges is the guy that has the ball in his hands. He had 29 shots, I think, against them last time. Did the same thing to Atlanta. Did the same thing to Atlanta the other night, which is the other great matchup for small forwards. Those are the two teams that just cannot stop these small forwards that score the basketball. It's 25.5. He dropped 32 the other night. Just expect him to have the ball in his hands and just take over this game. It's what he's been doing on that Nets team, man. I mean, he's become a formidable scorer. And my thing is, the line goes up a little bit in these matchups, but I've watched guys, like Franz Wagner hit their number over their season average. The books have upped their lines against these Wizards teams, and these guys continue to hit this number. And I stayed away from some of those guys like that, but I'm not doing it with Mikal Bridges. He's just he's an animal right now.
Yeah,
he's hot. I'm going to ride the hot hand in the matchup. Negative 120, over 25.5 for Mikal Bridges. I do like Cam Johnson in that game again. I took him the other night against Atlanta.
2.5 threes. Do you like his threes? I almost said that. It's at threes, a lot of threes, but I mean, DFS is out, I think, right? Dorian Finney-Smith is still out, I believe, or they don't have any of his props up if he's in. So
yeah, I don't think he had any in there. Let me see real quick. I was looking at that. I would say, because Cam Johnson's points are at 16.5, and he scored 17 the other night. And he's right around that number. And even though the matchup is there with how many shots Bridges takes, and they've got Cam Thomas back, I don't know if he takes more than 13, 14 shots. So he really has to shoot 50%. Hit a couple threes, maybe hit a free throw or two. And I just think you're really getting real close to that line. I'm like, man, that's super tight. So, 2.5 threes is only 9 points, hitting 3 threes. So I do like that. I have not played either of those, but I would not talk anybody away from playing either one of those matchups. Kind of one I did go in that realm is I'm going to go back to Tobias Harris. As much as he let me down the other night, ruined my perfect night. I think I was 6 of 8 plus Taylor U and the Duran bet. I was just a monster night. And Tobias Harris just forgot to show up. But, it was 3 of 9, didn't really impact the game. But Embiid did drop 50, 10, and, whatever.
Yeah. He's a great scorer. I got to give him props. He is a great scorer. I don't care that we're in the new era. That's still hard to do, man. Especially.
Yeah. And so, he gets the Hawks. And the same thinking of I just explained with the small forward, he's small forward and power forward. He plays that small forward role on this Sixers team. He had a great game against Atlanta last time. I think he had 29 points. No Kelly Oubre in that game. So you get a little bit, more going back on that, but that, he's still easing back in probably 20 minutes. Harris is going to get his chance. I really like his rebounds too. Over 5.5. He's at 5 and 6 the last 2 games, even when he hasn't shot the ball well. Hawks are a phenomenal matchup for the boards for small forwards too. The Hawks and the Wizards are matchup dreams for these small forward players. And so I think even if Harris struggles to score the ball, I think getting 6 rebounds, he's out there playing 35 minutes a game. The ball should fall in his hands 6 times. So I like the rebounds over 5.5. And I like the points and rebounds over 21.5 for Tobias tonight. I'm going to give him another chance. This could be, a trip to the no bet list. If you can't help me against the Wizards and the Hawks 2 nights in a row, I might have to ban you for the season. But I like it, man.
That list was growing. I believe it's leveling off. We've kind of gone other directions, and it's allowed us to do that. Yeah, that's gonna be an interesting game. Clint Capella usually plays Joel Embiid pretty well, honestly. So that's a good angle right there to have the over rebounds. He's not a small guy, so you should be attacking that rim. Trae Young is sick, getting that illness that's going through the NBA right now. Very interesting. So we'll see how it pans out from that position as well. All right, I only have, like I said, this one big, super huge, no sweat bet. Get my money back if it doesn't hit parlay. So let me go over that real quick. Pardon me for not looking into the screen. I can maybe pull it up like this. Maybe look a little more professional with it. All right, we do have, no sweat bet. These odds came out to plus 6,533. So don't get crazy with it, But I took the Bulls at negative 2.5. We talked about it. I just like it. Like that matchup. They should beat the Spurs. I talked about the Kings at the Suns. Took that at negative 2. Then I started teasing down a bunch of spreads. We got the 76ers teased down to -3, mainly because I don't think Trae Young's going to be effective, and he's the hub of everything that goes on over there. I teased the Magic down to 4 against the Pistons because they may cover 11, but that's just too much for me, man. And then I moved the Nets down to -3 for several of the reasons you listed above with Mikal Bridges and Cam Johnson. And I think Nick Claxton. Rebounds are very interesting in that game because the Wizards suck they can't keep anybody. They don't know how to block out over there or something. They got to go back to the basics. Their starting center never, like 7 rebounds is great. So, that's hard. But the thing about Nick Claxton is he just does not get that much playing time, man. He rarely gets 30 minutes. So that's what's scaring me off from that. But if you want a good angle, I think that's another one. The Timberwolves, I've teased down to -3 against the Grizzlies. I don't understand why that line is so tight. So I teased it down anyway. It's not much money, but I still teased it. And then the Mavericks, -5. We already talked about no AN. You saw Luka get put up a 25-point triple-double and a half yesterday. He's on fire. And then on top of that, we added the same game parlay, which if you just want to do the same game parlay, it's +254. But I made a same game parlay X with all those. And it's Nikola Jokic over 12.5 rebounds against Alperen Sengun, the Turkish flop. He's going to get those against him for sure. Got Denver Nuggets money line, and we took Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes. Made that in the first quarter. The last game, they're back in Denver. He's going to shoot, man. That's what he does. That, like I said, is +254. Add that all together, you got the 6,533. So not a bad monster parlay going for the no sweat. A lot of teased action. I don't know. In all honesty, like you never know what you're gonna get, but with everything being teased, I don't really see a bad leg here. I really don't. I guess you could say the hardest one would be Nikola Jokic, 13 rebounds, but it's Jokic. He leads the league in rebounds. Why would he get 13, man? So that's all I got for the NBA, though. If you want to get on that journey, once again, I'll read it. Bulls -2.5, Sac -2, Philadelphia -3, Orlando -4, Brooklyn -3, Minnesota -3, Dallas -5, Jokic over 12.5, Nuggets money line, Michael Porter Jr. over 2.5 threes. All right, man, what you got?
Nuggets money line, Porter Jr. over 2.5. What was between Orlando and Brooklyn?
I took -4.
Yeah, but you had a matchup back between those two teams.
Oh, let me see.
Bulls, Sacramento, Orlando.
Bulls, Sacramento, Philadelphia, -3.
There we go.
Brooklyn -3, Minnesota -3, Dallas -5.
Nice, got it. Okay, cool. Might have to pump that in there, see what happens.
Yeah, man.
I'm always down for a fun little ride,
I never really do that, so that was fun, man. He says he doesn't think Trae Young plays tonight. If anything, the Bulls let me down. Are you kidding me? Against San Antonio? I'm not worried about that. I didn't tease that one, but I get it. He said because Bulls. I think that they're playing well. I think Zach LaVine being out of there, DeRozan and Nikola Vucevic working with Colby, I think they got a way better rhythm. They're trying to put in somebody else that needs the ball in their hands a lot. But yeah, man, what do you got for the NFL?
I think the Bulls are 3-1 without LaVine.
Yeah, they're doing quite well.
Yeah, I mean the other guard that who's Io, what's his Desamu? I don't know if I'm saying that right, but coach will correct me there, probably maybe sound it out there in the chat. But he's put up some good numbers with LaVine gone too. I mean, some of these young guys with the ball in their hands. I mean, we talked about Patrick Williams. He's not the biggest offensive threat, but I think they're using him more too on both sides, and he plays defense. LaVine not being there, it just, gives them an opportunity to kind of see what they got in these young guys. And right now they're playing well. So it would be a bad letdown spot. I hope not. I mean, that would mean bad things for Kobe White probably as well. So we don't want any of that going on. So let's make it 4-1 for the Bulls. But yeah, get into some football. Io Dusunmu. I was Dusunmu. I think I did pretty well there. Thank you, Coach. Appreciate that. Avid Bulls fan, knowledgeable man there. Thank you, sir. Let's start with the tight end, man. You know me and my tight ends. Let's go with the Charger tight end, Gerald Everett, receiving prop. His yards are at 30.5. He's back, and for him being back doesn't mean like, he's dropping, Mark Andrews, George Kittle type numbers. But last 2 games, he's had 4 catches in both games, 43 yards and 44 yards. Those were against the Ravens and the Patriots, 2 of your better tight end matchups. And on top of that, the Chargers receiving core is depleted, right? Outside of Keenan, who also is banged up. I mean, didn't do as much last weekend. Don't know if that was injury or just that ugly game overall or a combination of both. But they get the Broncos, who are a phenomenal matchup for tight ends as well. I just expect him to find Everett in this matchup. I mean, if you can do that against the Ravens and the Patriots, his hip looks good. He's out there all the time. Like Donald Parham is kind of taking a backseat after kind of raising up to maybe getting his opportunity. 30.5 yards for Gerald Everett. I really think that's a pretty low number with what he's done. So I believe it was negative 120, over 30.5 yards for Gerald Everett. I'll drop my second one here. I know you don't have as many NFL, so I'll drop two here.
Okay, yeah. Drop 3.
Yeah, give me Drake London, over 48.5 receiving yards as well. Only 8 yards last game, obviously, against the Jets. That game was ugly as can be, but they're back home indoors against a Tampa team that does not do well against wide receivers. He had 6 for 54 in the first matchup. Other than a game 2 weeks ago against Arizona where he only had 36 yards, and that game wasn't very pretty either. They ran the ball a lot. He's had, 78, 125, 54, 55, 91 outside of those other 2 kind of duds. I think against a Tampa team that's, bottom 6 against wide receivers, he's going to get some opportunity to get this number. So give me Drake London over 48.5. And in that same game, give me Cade Otton over 23.5 reception yards. He's been a lot more involved in this offense.
Yeah,
has been hitting this number pretty easy as of late. And Atlanta has been a great matchup for tight ends as well. They're getting, cooked across the board by tight ends. They stop the run pretty well. They're okay against the pass game. They've gotten a little worse in the secondary than how they started. But the tight ends are an area of the field where they can be exposed. So, I think
the linebacking core is not good there. That's why Jesse Bates' numbers are up. He's coming to try to fill that void. He's coming out of his zone or off of his man to come. A lot of times come and tackle those tight ends.
Yeah, so I like, Cade Otton is, he was a guy I like too. I mean, year 2, he was on the field a lot last year. He ran routes a consistent amount. They've kind of found a way to work him into the offense. So I think 23.5 yards is just, going through and looking at stuff, it's like you're looking at like CeeDee Lamb, 91 yards for, CeeDee Lamb. And it's like, yeah, he should hit it. But those high numbers are just, they're tough, Otton is in his last 6 games, 43, 27, 70, 10, 49, and 45.
Yeah, so, I picked him up. Yeah, we're going to build the parlay too. I got 24.5 over here. You still think that's good, eh?
I still think that's good.
Yeah, me too.
This should be a 30-yard game for him, at Buffalo and against Tennessee, who, they just didn't need to use him in those games. I just feel like against Atlanta, like you said, that area of the field is there. Baker Mayfield has been throwing the ball. 5+ targets in every game, 4+ catches in all those games except 1. I don't think that goes away here.
Yeah, I think that's a great call. And Baker has supported tight ends before. We've seen it. So I like that as well. I do like that. I'm building a mega parlay too. So I only take one player here. I got a free bet from losing the Thursday night football bet yesterday. So we're going to build one. What else you got? You got one more, and then I'll hop in with one too.
Yeah, let's go with good old Christian McCaffrey, man. Over 79.5 rushing yards against Seattle. He's never not hit this number against Seattle in whatever uniform he's been playing. And since he's become a Niner, he has had multiple 100-yard rushing games against this Seattle team. It's the cornerbacks of this Seattle defense that have gotten better. The Niners have so many weapons. They could easily, put up, a ton of passing work as well. But Purdy only had, I think, like 11 fantasy points. It wasn't the passing game. It's a lot of McCaffrey. 79.5 for him. It's just a low number. He's hit this in every game against Seattle. And I don't see why he doesn't hit it again. And I parlayed it. I played it by itself, but I also took a Christian McCaffrey anytime touchdown with it to give it a little extra love in there, because the McCaffrey touchdown is like negative 280. But I just love the 80 yards. I mean, that's feed him. He's crushed this matchup, and he's Christian McCaffrey. I mean, he's hit it in almost every game this season. The games that he hasn't hit it, they've been against good run defenses. You know, no discredit to those teams, but I mean, it was Dallas, it was Cleveland, and I think one other game. But other than that, you know, McCaffrey's touching the ball, and he's so explosive. He doesn't even need the 15-plus carries that I'm sure he's going to get. So give me 80 yards, and then give me a second play of that with him and an anytime touchdown, because I mean, to back up what he does in every game, he scored in 23 of 24 games or something like that.
Yeah, that's a pretty ridiculous streak. Almost broke the record, you know, but yeah, almost only counts in certain things. So
there you go.
I think that's an interesting aspect of it. Yeah, I do have two bets that I feel really good about. One of them we're going to add to the parlay here. They're tackle props, of course. I like Roquan Smith over 9.5. Rams are at Baltimore this week. Should be a really nasty weather game. You know, I just think that they're going to get a lot of Kyron Williams, a lot of passes underneath. You know, maybe not across the middle, but in the flanks and hooks and curl zones and so forth like that. Roquan's had a great year. He's got 126 tackles. He's just kind of being overshadowed by Patrick Queen this year as far as like coverage. I guess because people are pretty much expecting that from Roquan, where Patrick Queen was supposed to be like Bush, who became a backup linebacker for Seattle. You know, it just kind of like went by the wayside. So that's at negative 140. I'm seeing it. I just don't see how that almost doesn't happen. It could be one of those games he's all over the field. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how Lamar will be after a bye week. He's not always performed so well after a bye week, and this could also favor the Rams as well with just more possessions. I mean, the volume is always the most important thing, right? We get a lot of volume defensive plays for Roquan Smith. He's more than likely going to cover this prop, even if he doesn't have his best game. So I like it a lot. I've added it to our parlay we've got going on. And then I also like TJ Edwards, man, over 9.5 as well. Look, we're at this point of the season. You know who these guys are. We know who they are. They're Pro Bowl caliber, all pro caliber linebackers. TJ Edwards, everybody, that was probably my most successful prediction of the years that he would remain a top five. Most people, he was in the top 10 last year. People wrote him out. They're like, oh, he's leaving Philadelphia. He's not going to be any good. Tremont Edmonds is over there. He's going to eat up. Well, I was like, nah, I think TJ Edwards is part of the reason Philadelphia was so good. We can see that now with Philadelphia going to sign Shaquille Barrett because they don't have any linebackers. They're going out to sign linebackers in week 14, week 13. So that was a pretty good indicator to me. Edwards is a top 5 fantasy linebacker, pretty much regardless of formats. So 9.5 tackles on the list against the Lions, who should and are predicted to have more offensive possessions. I mean, the Lions are negative 170. This game's at Soldier Field, too. So I kind of like the under. The under's 43. I mean, December NFC North football outside, Jared Goff, Justin Fields. I just kind of think this could be a very low-scoring game. So I think the 43s and play there as well. It's one of my favorite bets, honestly, for the NFL this week. So I mean, because you're asking for 6 touchdowns and a field goal. I mean, Jared Goff outside. I just don't know about that, man. I don't feel good about it. But those are 3 bets I got right now. What
Second matchup of those teams too, man. You know, the division matchups don't always repeat themselves when you see fireworks in the first game. A lot of times you just see a more pulled back approach, you know, trying to do some different things. And then, like you said, I mean, going to Chicago. Yeah, I don't have anything on that game. I mean, I've been on Montgomery all year long, and I mean, his rushing prop is, you know, he didn't hit it last week, but he's been pretty solid all season long. But yeah, I like that. I like that under look there. I do have, outside of the props, I do have a little 2-team teaser. You know, I like to take those. You know, we talked about this early in the season. Those road dogs that are +1 to +3 and tease them up. You know, 6 points. It's a very very successful method for the most part. other than the Browns choking away plus 9.5 last week at the very end, which was a bad beat, especially in person. Getting to watch them ruin a massive 3-leg teaser for me was twice as bad, man. There was like 9.5 wasn't even a question. Then they lost by like 15. But give me the Colts, who are +2 on the road at Cincinnati. So +8 for Indy.
Yeah.
7-5. Shane Steichen's got them playing good ball. They're a much better defense than the Jags, and they can score on this Bengals defense too. I think that's a winnable game. And that's the other angle of that matchup is it's not just the points being, under +3. It's also teams that I think have a good chance of already outright winning the game. You should be a 3-point favorite already, at home. So anything under 3 is already telling us that this team has a chance to win this game outright. The second one of that is the Denver Broncos. They were +2.5. I mean, everybody knows the Broncos can win this game. The Chargers have been terrible. As much as it hates me to go against my Bolts, I'm taking the Broncos +8.5. I mean, Chargers can still win the game. I mean, the Chargers are the kings of one-possession games. I think this game stays pretty low, too, as well. I think Denver finds a way to keep it close, even if they don't pull out the win. So I like both those games, with that 8-point spread. -120 when you put them together. I think it's a great spot for that 2-team teaser. So went pretty heavy on that. So that's Chargers, Broncos +8.5, and then Colts +8. And I'll drop my pizza parlay that I dropped on Force or Farce with JC real quick. +202 for these 3 teams on the money line. Give me Iggy's Packers, give me the Cowboys, and give me the Cleveland Browns at home against the Jags.
I love it, man. The Packers, man. Got to love them as well. That's going to be a good Monday night matchup. Going to have the game show with, I think, all Green Bay Packers contestants. So we'll see how that goes. Should be pretty good entertainment for everybody as far as that.
2 games, two doubleheader Monday night too, right?
Yeah, Tennessee, Miami, and New York and Green Bay. So should be fun, man. I just also looking Cleveland, Jacksonville at Cleveland, man, 32.5. I'm sure a lot of people are burned. I think there was 74% of the money last night was on the under. Just popular opinion. You got to watch it, man. We said in our little group chats, I told everybody Zeke's going to have a good game, man. He's going to go out and ball in front of the national media, maybe get himself one more good contract somewhere, and show that he can still be the guy I've needed to be. I mean, he was the starting running back. They won this game, one of their 3 wins this year. Zappy was okay, but he checked it down to Ezekiel Elliott, did a lot of work. So I think a lot of people are going to be burned by that because Cleveland doesn't have an Ezekiel Elliott. Jacksonville, I mean, Travis Etienne's good, but I don't think he's as good without Trevor Lawrence as Ezekiel Elliott can be on a bad team. You know what I mean? So the 32.5.
His rushing yards. Go look. I talked about Etienne on Force or Farce too, man. He was a farce for me, man. His rushing numbers are very low on the season. Like it's those big touchdown runs he had, and no knock on Etienne. I like him. I have him in fantasy in a lot of places. Browns don't give up a lot of yards to running backs in the air either. They swarm on that. So as much as Beathard will look to get him involved, I think he'll get a chunk of catches, but it could be more of that 5 for 19, 5 for 25 kind of thing. And only rushing for 50, maybe 60 yards at most. It's a tough matchup, man, for sure.
I mean, I think the weather's supposed to be bad. That's part of the reason. I mean, they're playing outside in Cleveland. I mean, yeah, you can score a lot of points in those kind of games, but it's not really. I mean, with 2 backup quarterbacks and a backup running back and your lead-in wide receiver out for Jacksonville, I mean, Foye Alakuna on one side, J-O-W, R-K on the other side. Myles Garrett, Trevane Walker, Josh Allen, like it's going to be hard to build up a drive and, rattle off 9 or 10 plays and cap it off with a touchdown. Like
the weather is bad there for sure. I mean, I looked at the forecast there. I mean, they're in Baltimore. It's bad. And I mean, I looked at Flacco because I wondered what his passing prop was because he threw for 254 against the Rams and the Jags. We saw what, has happened to him all season in the passing game. And last week, so I'm like, man, I wonder what Flacco's number's at. It might be a good look, but it's at 191, and I can tell you that's not the matchup. That's the weather. They're telling us something there. 191 against the Jags after he just threw for 254. and what Browning just did to the Jags, I think that tells us a lot about how ugly the weather could be in that game, at least as of right now. So,
yeah, I'm not, and a lot of times, it's just weird that they have, like you said, it's going to be a difficult game plan. It's going to be a slugfest. It might be a kicker prop if they lower it to like 1.5. I mean, we're getting to the time of the year where you see 6-0 victories. I mean, they're going to happen. All right. That's just the reality of it. All right. That's okay. Yeah, man. So I don't have anything else. I built this parlay of our bets. Do you have any bets you'd like to cover?
no, I mean, I pretty much touched everything right there. I think that's about everything I got for now. Sure, I'll have some. I might have a few more on there. I'll have a few more before Sunday comes. Probably drop something on Spotify. Throw out obviously some posts on the X as I do. So just keep your eyes open for those. But yeah, I think that's all I got right now, man.
I love it. We got a lot of bets today. I'm going to recap a parlay, and these are all bets we've mentioned today. I do want to thank y'all for participating. We want to thank y'all all for watching, man. This is all about positive unit returns. That's kind of the mantra here, betting smart and being lucky. And you do those things, or if you're lucky, and you bet smart, you should have positive unit returns. Evan and I talking about limiting how much we're betting. But I did get this free bet. I got to use it in 2 days, so it's not like I can the in-season tournament, I can't hedge it. I went and looked at NBA finals and players. That's just such a long time to wait for my return. I have to wait till end of May, or May essentially. So we'll just wait on that. We're going to go ahead and put on a mega parlay. Try to hit one on these mega parlays where the data is more reliable, right? Here we go. K. Dotton over 24.5 receiving yards. Christian McCaffrey over 79.5 rushing yards. Roquan Smith over 9.5 tackles. Detroit Lions at Chicago Bears under 43. Jacksonville Jaguars at Cleveland Browns under 32.5. Apply my free token to it, and we still get paid $209 on a $0 bet. All we need is 5 things. That's a lot to happen. Let's be realistic. But hey, turning a $0 bet into $200, that's music to everybody's ears, right? I think anybody can be happy with that. So, anything else you'd like to say in closing, sir?
You just brought up, to end with the in-season tournament again. Obviously, I'm rooting for my Lakers anyway with my heart, but I'm also rooting with my pockets because, as you know, I've got my bet on the Lakers. I took one spot on the Lakers and one spot on the Knicks. One of those disappeared pretty quickly. And the other one is possible tomorrow night. So I'm looking for a Lakers cash, man, because that was what was that? Plus.
I got it right here. Hold on.
So I live in California, as most people know, if you follow us, or if you're, I'm in San Diego and Iggy's in Colorado. So, I use Flip a lot and some other stuff. I don't have access to, DraftKings and whatnot. So Iggy was, kind enough to put these on there for me. So.
That's a plus 550 you got right there, man.
Yeah, plus 550 on the Lakers. So, lost a little bit on the Knicks, but I played more on the Lakers with, the upside because the Knicks were plus 1,200. So I'm looking forward to that return. I expect the Lakers to win that game, man. I'd be really mad if they don't because it's a Lakers loss and I'm losing some profit right there.
Yeah, I'm trying to break it down. New Orleans is out. So that was a big hedge I had like way back in the beginning of the year gone. Indianapolis, I got them hedged still. LeBron James, I got him hedged. As of right now, I win I win a little bit more if the Pacers win. That's how a hedge works.
What was LeBron's MVP when you got it?
I think I placed it twice. If LeBron wins MVP, I win 132. I think off of 2 bets. So it was pretty high at that point. It was over 1,000, I think. So got it narrowed down. He's negative right now. I got Halliburton at 60. I've thought about doing that again and again. I'm glad I haven't. But yeah, either way, we hedged it, so it's going to be a successful hedge. Going to be getting some money back in return. That's why you hedge, right? You gotta be expecting a loss, right? If you're going to have a hedge because only one team can win, right? That's just the bottom line. Put a last second bet on Giannis. That wasn't smart, right? Should have just looked elsewhere. But yeah, we're doing well. Either way, we're winning money. I'm really thankful for it. If the Lakers win, got a little bit more coming our way. So we'll be rooting for it. We'll probably play. I'll probably play some money line bet on the Lakers. Just to help boost those odds a little bit. Thank you guys for joining us. I do want to give a shout out once again to Better Vision. Make sure you go check them out. Download the app. JC, we love you guys. Thank you, man. Parlay is definitely one of JC's things. Parlay pizza, something we started 2 years ago now, or a little over 2 years, or over a year and a half ago now, watching Thursday Night Football. So make sure you go check out the Midweek Madness. We also have a full lineup, on Monday through Friday, essentially. So go check out thesportsaffiliation.com or the Sports Affili on X or Twitter, and you can kind of just see all our shows will be listed right there, whether it's this one being broadcasted on there live or it's our other previous spaces. Last night we had the Thursday Checkdown, which is a space. It's still right there. Go record it. Hall of Famer with Greg Kellogg. We have several shows up there. A lot of great times. We watch football together. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube. You see it right there. If you're not a subscriber and you're watching this, please subscribe to it. Help us out and keep us in tune. All right, Evan. Thank you for joining. You guys take care. We'll see you next week as the fantasy football playoffs are here. How about that, man? Later.